I was just watching Roland Martin on MSNBC, and that had to be the most tappity display of soft shoe I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, talk about Roland Martin being a Democratic political shill. There were a couple of things in there that I had a problem with. He talked about Ice Cube, Ice Cube's plan versus whatever plan the Democrats had, right? And again, at the 11th hour, oh, what about black men? What's going on with black men? Oh, we need their vote. Anyway, he brought up the fact that Ice Cube's platinum plan was only something like 2 pages, where the Democrats, they got something going on that's 22 pages. And so the fuck what? So the fuck what? It's about the substance, not about the number of pages. As somebody who has read students' papers and whatnot, I can tell you that, when you give a page limit, kids will give you just an unimaginable amount of fluff that doesn't amount to anything and doesn't mean anything. It's just words on paper, but it's not actually effective. And that's the key word is effective. I don't care about how big, the pages are, or how many pages there are, or how big the plan is. What I care about is whether the plan is effective. To sit there and suggest that a plan is going to be more effective if it has 22 pages as opposed to 2 pages is about as sophomoric as it gets. Roland Martin is old enough to know that, any fool would fall for that. But any intelligent person would not fall for that. Oh, we got to go with the one that's bigger. But what's actually in it? Oh, we don't know. We can't tell you whether it's substantive. I hate that word, substantive or not. We can't tell you because we don't know what's in it. We didn't look, but hey, it's bigger, it's thicker. Black people should be offended at even suggesting that, right? You don't need to look it up. That's what it says. Don't worry about it. You don't need to look it up, right? Going back to Reverend SWP. The other thing is about it being effective, actually getting something done. This whole idea of Democrats presenting a plan when they've had, over 60 years to actually put in, actual effective change, right? It's like, obviously, we can't rely on their word. We can't rely on what's on a piece of paper. I'm more intrigued and interested to see what the Republicans would actually do than the Democrats. Like, the Democrats have offered nothing while everybody's like, oh, don't deal with the Republicans. Don't talk to the Republicans. They ain't got nothing to offer you. What does it matter if you have nothing to offer? What does it matter? Why are you trying to get me to stay over in your corner if you have nothing to offer? The other thing that pissed me off about Roland Martin's MSNBC video that he's so proud to post on his page is he brought up, reason can't mess with Trump because Trump came through with diamond and silk, right? Which Trump came through with diamond and silk, right? But I'm like, but you're not going to say anything about the Democrats coming through with get your booty to the poll, using a bunch of strippers to try to get black women to go out there and vote. I mean, you would think that if black women are the backbone and the foundation of the Democratic Party, right? And all these ideas of, sophisticated, educated black women like Michelle Obama and, all this education that sisters got going on, supposedly blowing black men out the water. You would think that they wouldn't use strippers in order to get their point across. That's telling, black women what the Democratic Party thinks is the majority of black women. They see the exceptional educated black women as just that, the exceptions, right? But Roland Martin don't call out. He doesn't have anything to say about that. He's focused on Diamond and Silk, but he can't call out Democrats on get your booty to the poll. The other thing that pissed me off in this little interview that he's giving is notice that when he talks about resources, right, coming from, or saying what the Democrats need to do. Notice he says resources to black media, meaning, himself. Yeah, you got to spend resources to black media. I mean, again, Roland Martin got booted off of MSNBC, and now he's trying to, be relevant and tell, the Democratic white overlords like, oh, massa, I can still step and fetch. I can still go out there and get you them Negro votes. So, he's like, yeah, the Democrats, they need to make sure that they allocate resources to black media. I'm like, how about the black community? How about these inner city schools, right? How about job creation, economic opportunities, creating, federal incentives for cities to, reintroduce, manufacturing to these deindustrialized areas in predominantly black areas. But notice he said, we got to make sure we get money to the black media, meaning himself. Then he further goes on and talks about how, these Democratic people have to go to basically the black political experts, basically black people's handlers, which Roland Martin is, self-proclaiming himself as one. Right. Oh, well, see, you got to go to the black handlers. Right. Instead of actually going to, the black people on YouTube, or wherever, the people that have been making all the noise that have caused such a shift to go on politically, this younger generation. Right. Of bloggers and people with opinions and whatnot. Right. Go to the source. But see, they don't want to go to us. They want to go to the black handlers who say, oh, I speak Negro. I speak Negro. I can translate for you, massa. I can tell them what you want them to want. Right. Because that's really what it's about, to tell the black people coming from the white overlords what black people should actually want, which is symbolism as opposed to tangibles. And Roland Martin is going to be the messiah of that message coming down and telling black people, that, you need to vote Democrat because I said so. But what about, what about what we get in exchange? Don't worry about that. It ain't about what you get in exchange. You need to go out there because your ancestors died for the right to vote. What is the purpose of voting if you don't get anything out of it? It's like Roland Martin continuously wants the black community to be these whores, these prostitutes that, basically, are just being, used and exploited and molested and manipulated and everything else. Right. And don't get anything out of it. We're supposed to not walk away from a situation that is not to our benefit. And then even talking about the gender divide, he basically dismissed that. Oh, well, that was happening underneath, Hillary and underneath Obama and Donald Trump is trying to get to 20%. What Donald Trump is saying is that looking at the trends, he can probably get the 20% because of the disinfected population, of black men that have been slowly creeping away from the Democratic Party because of all the feminism and all the, LGBT and all this stuff, all the, all men are toxic masculinity and rape culture and all this attack on manhood. Right at a time when black men are trying to reclaim, their manhood, given, the conditions of the community and, self-correct, based off of, misinformation campaigns and the way that, the black community has been, just completely attacked. But now we have the tools and the mechanisms, to communicate with one another about and challenge and question what actually went down. Black people, right now, especially black men, it goes back to what Malcolm X said about, thinking and operating independently for oneself and one's own interest and be selfish. And black people, namely black men, have been unable to do that, politically speaking. And so, again, goes back to my video about what I said about the great, gender political divide, that currently exists. So, the focus, for black men, we need to talk about jobs and gainful employment and resources, housing, and all that stuff. I don't care who's coming with the plan. If that's not in there and it's not, going to happen as fast as what we saw with the resources that were allocated to the Chinese community for all their Chinese businesses that, were affected by COVID. You saw how fast that happened. They were like, we must have an emergency package right now. They had a bill federally and they had a bill, at the local level in New York. But yet when it comes to black men, oh no, we can't get nothing done. Black women are the backbone. We're going to focus on that. Okay, well, you go do that. Black men, we ain't fucking with you anymore. Plain and simple. And again, it takes time. Some people, they move faster than other people move. But at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of, smoke and mirrors. It's a bunch of, stalling, in my opinion. And the only way that black men are going to actually make a change is you got to take a stand. You got to make the Democratic Party feel it. Because I'm telling you, the Democratic Party is not self-reflective. I guarantee you, they lose the election, they're still going to be talking gun control. You know what I'm saying? They lose the election, they're still not going to put anything tangible on the table as it pertains to black men. So again, why should we vote for them? Win or lose, we get nothing. Plain and simple. This is simple, basic ass, math. And, people are up there trying to discredit, Ice Cube. The only regret that I have with Ice Cube, and even, you got P. Diddy up there trying to start, a black political party or whatever, is the fact that I'm like, where are the ELs? Where are, the Robert, what's his name? The Robert Smiths, right? Where are the black men that are in the shadows, these so-called olders that got all type of secret millions of dollars and whatnot that should be putting something together? If they're not the charismatic personality, they can go and find the charismatic personality to back and support. Like, y'all don't understand how pathetically weak, as so-called the good guys of the black community we look right now. Why is it every time there is a power vacuum, you don't see any freaking EL stepping up to the plate? So-called, black professional, I got degrees, I went to college type black men, right? You never see any of the so-called articulate brothers go up there. It's always street dudes. It's always ex-gangbangers, ex-drug dealers, rappers. They're always the ones they're so willing to jump up and get in the political spotlight. But when it comes to the so-called good dudes, when it comes to the so-called ELs, right, we never get up there. And I'm saying, especially the people that really have the economic ability to do so. You know what I'm saying? Like there's black men out there that got P. Diddy's money, but we don't know their name. Nobody cares to know their name. They're just floating around in the shadows, but they got resources, to move around. You got that black man out there out of the Midwest somewhere. He started he's like a billionaire, telecommunications and shit like that. Nobody knows who he is, right? The fact that I can't even speak what his name is. You gotta Google these people. It's like, who are the American black billionaires? You gotta like Google the shit. Cause you don't hear about these brothers. They don't never say nothing. All they do is just sit around and collect money, have no influence and whatnot. And then people sit around and wonder why, the collective of the so-called educated lames reputation is trash. Why we don't get any respect. You can say what you want, but I'm saying Ice Cube going up there, basically saying, I don't give a fuck what you talking about. I'm focused on getting something done. That takes balls, or it takes, a strong amount of not giving a fuck. But either one, that's the type of shit that people respect. But I'm saying here you got, Ice Cube up there. You got, P. Diddy up there, who I think is another shill, because, with his, he's already disqualified because, he starts out, oh, I'm saying this, then switches up and then says, oh, we need to vote for Biden because we got to get Trump out of there and this, that, and the third. So I'm like, okay, you ain't got no fucking spine, nigga. So, P. Diddy is dismissed. I'm just saying, like, it's like, I don't know. Maybe the masses of black people just aren't that intelligent, and whether it's enemies outside the community or shills inside the community, it's so easy for them to do all the manipulation they do because people, they don't like to think. Where me, I can't shut my brain off. So, I see this shit and I'm like, how does anybody not see this? How do you not see this? It's just frustrating. And you get black people that like they go for this. I know my freaking parents go for it. I don't even talk to them about politics no more because they're just like, oh, we gotta get Trump out of there, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, what's in it for black men? I get pissed off talking to them because I'm like, shit, another 10 years, y'all motherfuckers ain't even gonna be around. I'm gonna be the one stuck with the shit. I'm going to be the one that's going to be, affected. And they just sitting around, make sure we get them Social Security checks. I'm like, oh, okay. It's frustrating. Just no like forethought, like no projecting into the future and figuring out like where we need to go, what we're trying to do, how the world actually works. Like, how can you come up with a plan if you don't actually know how the system of American capitalism works? How can you come up with a plan to be able to advance the black community if you don't have the foresight of the damn future and whatnot? You don't even know where things are going. If you had a time machine and you went back to the 90s, what would you tell people? You would tell people, buy stocks, the .com bubble, right? Go to school for computer science and writing code and advanced degrees in AI, right? And then black people would be sitting pretty right now if that's what we focused on. So you got to know where things are going before you decide like that's what I'm, that's the plan that we're going to come up with. I really resent how emotional my people are. I really, really do. It's frustrating. It's really, really frustrating to sit there and listen to people who don't know shit from piss, try to act like they know something. This shit is just blatant. It's just blatant. How Democrats, fucking 60 years of nothingness. And I'm like, and whether you should vote Democrat or not is actually the topic of discussion. Forget Donald Trump. Let's say Donald Trump doesn't even exist. I'm like, how are you going to show the Democratic Party your discontent? How are you going to show it? You going to continue voting for them? They don't give a fuck how they get your vote. They just want it. And if you're just going to give it to them, however it is you give it to them, even if you give them a stern tongue lashing, and yet you still give it to them, what incentive do they have to change? Right? If I'm a boyfriend and I'm cheating on you, right, and you stay with me, why do I need to stop cheating? You gonna stay with me? You're not gonna break up with me? Okay, all right, you caught me. Nigga, stop fucking with me. I know you was out there with Keisha. Okay, and I'm gonna be out there next weekend. I'm a fuck her good next weekend too. You ain't gonna do shit. You ain't leaving. You ain't doing nothing. Bitch, get out of my face. I ain't gotta listen to you. I'm gonna fuck all your friends. What you gonna do? You ain't gonna leave? Like, think about just how insane that is. But yet, that's exactly what black people do with the Democratic Party. They just whore themselves out. And then they get mad and want to complain about their abuse and shit and talk about, you're not paying attention to me. I need attention. You know? I mean, seriously, like, black people are like an abused fucking female when it comes to the Democratic Party. And the women, I mean, they're trying to get resources from the state. Patriarchy is dead in the black community. It's LGBT feminism and all that other bullshit. And so, black men are like literally in a space by themselves. And I'm like, okay, well, how are we going to approach this? Do the Democrats actually need the black male vote? Because remember, who created, or expanded, mass incarceration? I mean, black men with felonies can't vote. So, that only further makes, black men politically irrelevant or politically invisible. But yet, only at the 11th hour, let's talk about, prison reform, and let's talk about, restoring the rights of, convicted felons, as long as it's nonviolent, we're cool with, all that bullshit. It's not right. It's not just. Nobody was saying that when they came up with all these bills, to throw niggas in jail and then throw away the key, throw them under the jail. Nobody was talking that shit back in 1994 and 1993 when these bills were written. I mean, get real. I mean, we had a biracial president as close to a black man as you can possibly get. And seriously speaking, what did black men get out of that? What did they get out of that? Maybe a slight image boost. But other than that, what did they actually get about the reduction, the equalization of the crack cocaine disparity? What else? What did they get out of that? Remember My Brother's Keeper? What happened with that? What did My Brother's Keeper do? What did that do? Again, symbolism, lip service, no goddamn tangibles. No tangibles. And dare black men, say, hey, we ain't fucking with you unless it's some tangibles. We're not doing the same thing that our parents and our grandparents did. All of a sudden, your ancestors died, to vote. How are you not going to vote? Oh, you're just this. You're that. You're a coon. You're an Uncle Tom. You're this, that, and all this bullshit. I'm like, sticks and stones, motherfucker. I don't care what your labels are, your shaming tax. First off, that's the type of shit that fucking bitches do. All that shaming and shit like that. Motherfucker, I said what I said. I said what I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying? Either we fucking or we not. If we not fucking, get out of my face. I mean, it's just that simple. If you ain't got shit to offer, get out of my face. This is not going to go down, the way that you want it to go down simply because you want to sit there and cry and you want to sit there and, use female shaming tactics, or be dismissive, which only further pisses us off. Oh, well, they don't know what they talking about. Yeah. I'm like I said, I'm like, nigga, get away from me. Get away from me. But anyway, I don't want to drag this video out. I'm just saying, like, the tap dancing that I just heard just now, listening to this Roland Martin clip is insane. I'll put the link in the description box. I mean, it's insane. It's fucking waste of time. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. That's my video. SWP out.
What's that?
Must be them traveling minstrel boys got on in New Orleans.
Boy, have you seen Slim Brown? She's the finest gal in town. Turns all Memphis upside down.
Yeah, man, yeah, man.
She's the dark-eyed Dick's queen. Boy, she got it mean. Struttingest gal I ever seen.
Yeah, man, yeah, man.
Now you should see her when she gets going. Reminds you of the Mississippi flow.
Oh, you dog.
Think you boys is hot enough?
Yes, of course, hot enough.
Well, come on, boys. Let's play the stuff.
Yeah, man, yeah, man. I'm doing skip out the good. You can't do no skip out the good. Yes, I can't do about the good. Yeah, man, yeah, man.
You can't take no chorus, too.
Yes, I can take a chorus too. Yeah, man, yeah, man.
I can do some shuffling too. Look out, man, what you gonna do?
Look out, boys, it's coming through.
Yeah, man, yeah, man.
Boy, he got educated feet.
Boy, I practice all the time. Here's one I sat up all night trying to do. Get this.
When the boat dock is Memphis, you should get yourself a job in one of them Beale Street cafes.
Boy, you've been reading my mind. Watch me go to Beale Street.